Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear from our host, Andy Albright.
That a lot, and hopefully some people will take something from it, but hopefully you three couples will take more from it than anybody. And I always say I hope the people that I like the best listen the hardest and take the advice, because I don't want to hurt the people I like the most. I want to help the people I like the most. So you hope the people the most would be the people that would listen the most and adhere the most and try to take that advantage. But, let's say somebody I don't like that much and they listen, they start doing it, that'd be cool too. Indiscriminate when it comes to growth. Take it where you get it. If it's not from your child or your best friend or somebody else, just say, all right, well, maybe I can start to like them because they're growing like crazy and listening and taking the advice. So high level, Jake, if you just kind of tell everybody just a high level, maybe take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just say who, where you and Ray come from and, a little background and whose team you're on.
Yeah. Am I coming through okay?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Hey, Jake Joseph and Ray Joseph out of Rio Rancho, New Mexico, Albuquerque. We are part of the Greater Leventovich organization. So direct to Jared Gonzalez and Mr. Dukes here on this call. Oh yeah, y'all can see him. I see him in the squares. Leventovich, Abby, and Andy, obviously. So, but yeah, been originally from New Jersey, been out here in New Mexico, found my wife, married her, 2 kids. Loving this business, just having fun. This week has been wild with the estate planning seminars. On top of that, team blowing up. Yeah, bunch of young, sharp kids coming on board. It's one you think it doesn't happen overnight, Andy. You told us that, but then one morning you wake up and you're like, "Holy smokes, we got some good stuff happening." So.
Yeah, it's still happening. I tell you, it's still it's still happening for you guys. All right, James and Allara, James and Pam. James and Pam, give us the same thing. Highlight where y'all come from, your business previous, and how you got connected with us.
Yeah, so James and I are originally from New York, and we moved out to Arizona to kind of fulfill a dream we had. Our dream was really great. We loved it, and then it wasn't, and then we hated it, and we needed to find something else. We were used to being our own bosses and quickly found that going back to a job was probably the worst thing that could ever happen to us next to death. And we started looking around for something, and Joseph Dukes up there had put an ad on Craigslist, and James found it, and we haven't looked back. It's been, a bumpy start till we kind of, like they say, once the alliance gets into you, it took us a while to get there, to follow the system. But once we did, we haven't looked back. It's been an amazing ride, being able to learn from some of the best people in the business, following what you and Jane have built. James and I are hoping that we create that same kind of atmosphere for our team and just kind of following the system. It's been amazing.
Good. And that was a furniture sales business?
Yep. Furniture.
How many locations did y'all have?
2.
Two
location.
60,000 square feet, a showroom, and it was big. We were doing millions of dollars. And then one day we were doing no dollars.
Life throws curveballs.
It does. You go from having a lot of money and absolutely no time to all the time in the world with no money, like less than no money. Mm-hmm. And then, we found this, and then we were able to really have the money and the time. Like right now we're on vacation. My niece graduated and we came to California. We took her to Universal, brought our daughter along. And we still managed to get people in class yesterday, get people contracted. It's the type of business where we don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars tied up in inventory to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
You can
I
make
think that's
happen anywhere.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can work from anywhere, sitting on the beach, helping agents in homes yesterday. Like, that don't suck.
Yep. It was awesome.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Same for you. I think it's going to keep getting better and better. Joe Dukes, I guess both of these organizations are on your team, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Big team growing outside of that. So talk to everybody a little high level, where you come from, how you got connected.
Sure. Joseph Dukes, my partner Venus and I, originally from Alaska, moved down to the States 2001, right at the beginning of the mortgage boom. Got my foot in the back door doing mortgage lending. And before that, I worked in a grocery store. I was, as Andy put it, I was a professional apple stacker. So I could stack apples for a living. So, and really, I loved what I did in both of those careers because I was helping people. But I just wasn't making the kind of money that I wanted to. That's why a lot of times people ask, why'd you leave Alaska? And I'm just like, because it was really expensive and I wasn't able to do any of the stuff that I love doing. So I came down to the States trying to figure it out. And so I grew up hunting, fishing, doing all that stuff. And then after moving to the States, spent about 5 years doing mortgages and had a good buddy of mine reach out to me, Paul Epstein. And Paul had just been hired by Mike and Noel Evantovich. And he had answered actually a newspaper ad in Alaska, and that was where I'd met Paul. And he called me when he moved to Phoenix and told me about this great business that he was getting involved in. And it took me some time. And really, it was a couple things. It was he introduced me to Mike, and then he introduced me to you, Andy. And I gotta be able to meet you and kind of the inner circle that you had and attend to meet. And I saw what the alliance was. For me at that time, it was a potential exit strategy out of the banking world because that was 2006. So lots of people remember what happened in 2007. The mortgage world, the entire economy fell apart, and I was just grateful. I did this for part-time for about 16 months, and then when it started costing me money to go into the office to actually do mortgage lending because I wasn't making any money, and transition into this. And really just at first was just focused on selling, and realized after earning my first incentive trip and that when all you're doing is just selling, you can make great money selling. It's great. I love it. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. I never had my passport before I got in this business. Got my passport after being invited to go to St. Martin on our first incentive trip. And the very first day I was there, I saw you, and you talked to me about the difference. You reminded me, because I'd heard it a couple times, but I really hadn't heard it. Hey, there's a difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. He says, I was freaked out because I knew I was out of the country and couldn't sell insurance while I was gone. At that time, there was no virtual sales. This was 17 years ago. And now it's...
Right. Virtual sales from Hawaii or virtual while you're on does not make you now self-employed because you can virtual sell.
Right. But thank you for saying that. Because there's a lot of people who think that it's like, because it's still tied to your income. And when you literally not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And when you literally drew it out and said, you realize that if you can get someone like a James and Pam, I have James and Pam then, or a Jake Joseph, if you can help someone go out and do what you did to qualify for this trip, then that means that now you have income coming in. So when you go on this next trip, you're going to have more money in your bank when you come home, and you'll still be able to spend money. And that was a game changer for me, because the very next year we went on that Silver Seas trip, and it was true. I was like, wow, we're actually able to spend some money, and I had more money coming in because I wasn't all tight about my income.
What's the guy, Robert Kiyosaki? We like to talk about his books.
Oh, yeah.
Self-employed. What's the one that he does where it's
the 4 quadrants?
Yeah, the 4 quadrants of business, where you're self-employed, or whether the business owns you or whether you own the business. But he walks it through. Somebody will be texting me the name of that book. We ain't said it yet.
Cash flow quadrant?
Yeah, Cash Flow Quadrant. That's it. The Cash Flow Quadrant. That's the book. And then in my book, The Millionaire Maker Manual, there's a chapter on income from an organization you build. I've got a buddy that owns, I think the last I heard is 8 Domino's. It's not terrible. If he's making 50,000 each, he's making 400,000, and he's somewhere else making 400,000 while it's growing, and good for him, right? It's the same concept. When I was looking for something to do, I was an engineer and jobs and all that, but I was looking for something. I was thinking, how do I franchise it, or how do I have multiple streams of income? That's another book, Multiple Streams of Income, but how to do that. So in the green book, I talk about it. So one things I would ask you to do when you're talking to your downline is slow down with some of the more intelligent ones and ask them to show you what's the net worth, what's the virtual value, accredited value of a new agent. And the reason you would do that, so let's say you're going to, it's 2 different organizations of you, Joe. So you talk to Jake and Varay about the value of a new person, or James and Pam about the value of a new person. But the question is, do they really know how to calculate it? Because they go, oh, yeah, I read a book. Oh, yeah, no. So, all right, great. You got $1,000 a month. What's that worth? How much would you have to have in the bank making 3%? And what is your current value? Let's just throw it out to them and say, what do you think? So my question is, for you 3 but if I said that $1,000 a month, what's essentially the value of that property or the value of that agent? Not emotional, but just what's the cash equivalent? So the math is $1,000 a month times 12 is $12,000. Mm-hmm. And $12,000. So how do you get $12,000 put into your account off of another bank account or a rental property? So if your rental property is producing at 3%, you'd have to have a $400,000 rental property to make you $12,000 a year. So you give a person, they go like, oh, I got it. Okay, all right, we'll do $2,000. Tell me what that's worth. And clearly it's 800,000, but the way you do that is 2,000. But just check and make sure they understand what you're really saying, and then get them to talk to you. Because I've got in seminars for some guy in the back that wants to argue with me about real estate, and he's like, plus appreciation of the real estate. I'm like, all right, cool, fantastic. Let's figure in appreciation. What's your appreciation, right? And what's your depreciation, from real estate, and what's your expenses, and how can you grow it? So there's 2 different conversations. One is what's one worth, and the more important, or just as for you 3, is does your guy understand the importance of that? Your girl, does Jera understand the importance of that? Because here's the thing. I was talking to one of the sharpest couple in the country, and they are 16 down from their upline, and there's nobody. They either quit, died, shot. One of them is in a witness protection program, if you can believe that, and their upline's just gone. But they're now direct to their new upline. They just kept moving up. But the key is, if they hadn't got in, there would have been nobody to move up. That organization would be gone. So where you're going to find your biggest people is in depth. But selling depth or getting depth. So if I have a person that's not hiring more people, here's what I know. They don't trust me. They don't trust the system. They don't believe. They don't like me. They don't know what I'm going to do to embarrass them. So if you're not bringing to me, that's a signal to me, Joe, yeah, he don't trust me. He don't trust the system. He don't believe in me. So I got to be nicer to him. So and this, I'm training, I've got an organization that's building my base. So like I've got, Andy Riddle and Fitz and Alex Avian's 3 organizations, and then, Davies or whatever. Well, I'm putting in some new hierarchies and getting them up and running, and I'm getting Brandon Manley up and running. And so I've got people in the office, and when we bring on a new person, we just had, I just had a guy. So I've been recruiting him 33 years. I've been trying to get him. He never got in Amway with me. He's never got in here for different reasons. He has his logic. But I want to tell you, yesterday he sent me a kid who's a college athlete, active, looking for something to do in the summer. He sent me a kid. Say, this guy is looking for something to do. Thought you'd talk to him. And that's a sign that he loves me, trusts me, believes in the system, knows I'm going to do him right. I'm not going to screw up he don't send me enough, you understand? But to me, there's never enough. Like cars too fast, I just don't see cars being too fast. And other stuff I don't see that people, like workaholic, I'm like, what? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you? Or that car's too fast. Like, what? Too many referrals. He sent me too many referrals. What? That's not happening. So he's not sold on the value of this person because he's not getting an override. But I guarantee you, I will send him something if this kid gets involved and gets started. Free dinner, something. Take him somewhere, something. I'm going to give him something for bringing him on. So most people, and this could be you, Joe, Jake, James, you get this guy and you think that's your guy. And sometimes people are like, how can I do this? So this is you and this is your guy. Well, if the guy don't do good, you're frustrated, mad. And I'm going like, that's weird. Or he does great and you're glad and ecstatic and happy. And I'm like, he's selling a lot. So he's selling a lot, happy as hell. Not selling a lot, mad as hell. Like, bro. Like, really? Is that the plan? So if you ever are thinking like that, and listen, let me tell you something. Like when I see a baseball player strike out, ain't come within, look like an inch of the ball, and he gets up the next time, licking his hands, fixing himself, and all the things they do. And I'm thinking, what's going through this guy's mind? Meaning he's sucked 3 times in a row, but he gets up there with all the arrogance and cockiness. So when your agent's doing really, really good and you're really, really happy for him, or doing really, really bad, my question is, like, why is it either one? So your emotions of being really happy or really excited, shouldn't your emotions and energy and money be about depth? So why do you want them selling and making money? Well, there's 2 reasons. One is, I don't make money if nobody sells. Happy they're selling. The other reason is they can pay for recruiting. Like I'm not thinking they can have a great house. I'm thinking they could buy recruits. They could buy a business. So my emotions are like, huh. So when I see a guy doing really, really good, it's making, 60,000, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000, and they're not spending money for recruiting. I'm like, I don't think they understand the value, or they don't like me. So I'm working on them liking me, and I'm working on them trusting me. So this is you, and now you get this person, now you got this person. So they're 2 deep. Same concept. A lot of people face. So think about my friend I've been trying to recruit for 33 years. He sends me this kid. When he goes into the office, I'm texting my staff. I hadn't talked to him, but I'm going, hey, DEPTH, boys and girls. I know they're going to try to get him selling. I'm 100% cool with that. DEPTH. That's where they are. That's where y'all came from. Y'all are absolute studs, but that's where you came from. All three of you are trying to recruit. All six of you are trying to sell, create volume. So it's like but I didn't hire you. I'm very, very, very unsuccessful hiring people, and they are tremendous. Hire my son-in-law. Yay! Hired Davies off of a newspaper ad. Yay! I'm looking for somebody to smoke my son-in-law down underneath him like crazy. And I'm looking for somebody to smoke Davies down under him like crazy. I'm not against Davies or my son-in-law, against Brandon. I should say Brandon Mann. I'm not against Brandon Mann. I ain't against them Davies. But I'm trying to find that superstar who will do everything by the recipe with enthusiasm. So if you're explaining how to calculate the value, Joe, and I talk to your downline and they say, I don't know what you're talking about. And you say, I told them. I go, Joe, was you rememberable or was you forgotten?
Right.
So I'm just, because if they don't remember what you said, then really you didn't say it,
Yeah.
And I know, like, I think Clay called me. We just interviewed a new girl we're hiring, and she told Clay I was quirky. Hope she's listening, but I was like, yeah, I'll take that. And he said, we call him eccentric. We also call him wide open. Well, call me memorable. How about that? Just don't forget to call me for dinner. Don't call me late. Don't forget to call me. So there's really three big concepts there. Yes, selling, but don't panic. Not selling, don't panic. Get depth. And then memorable on whatever you're telling those three levels. And here's another. There's different ways to get people to understand and be remembered or get the concept. Like you telling them with enthusiasm, you telling them with conviction, you telling them with a pencil paper, let them write it out, let them I don't even know if we do this anymore, but with admin people, the first thing we do, we set them in a computer and we'd say, pull up Excel spreadsheet. And if they go, what? Show me. I know how to calculate the value of a downline. Show me. Pull out a white piece of paper and calculate it for me and show me the equivalent value. Let's slow down a little bit on that because maybe people don't understand. You write a check for $400,000 and you've got an apartment complex that's got, let's call it 4 units. You've got mortgage payment, interest payment, maintenance. At the end of the year, you've been charging rent. How much did you make? How much did it cost? That's your net you're making on that house. So if you have a person who has 2 or 3 people, you got gross coming in and you got expenses on them, which, by the way, this don't make any sense to new people. Remember, we used to have an expense on override for leads. Now we don't.
Right.
And everybody said, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pay for people's downline. We're going to spend more money from the money we're saving. I have had some of my accountants question. They say, I don't think they're using that money to grow their business. They just making more money now because they don't have overriding expenses. Like, that'd be interesting if they just kept that money and didn't use it to build their business and recruit. Okay. All right. So questions and comments. Let's start with James and Pam. You had 50,000 square feet. You know what would be interesting is tie this into your inventory. More inventory, more sales, less inventory, less sales, more salespeople, more sales. Like, tell me, if I was starting a furniture business, the things that I just discussed, can you apply that to the furniture business? Let's say I'm going into furniture business. I ignore y'all, I can do it. You would give me some advice on inventory and sales and net profit.
Yes. So basically, it's a similar concept, other than the fact that in the insurance industry, you're really just helping them create something instead of you having to come out of pocket for all of that cash. So in the furniture industry, you have to make that huge investment in the inventory, in the building. We were at a point where our monthly expenses were $250,000 a month just to keep the stores running, between the inventory coming in and out, insurance, employee payroll, overhead, triple nets, all things like that. With the insurance industry, what we're doing is we're building a relationship, and we're teaching them how to copy us, which is very little of a financial investment in the individual. But once you train them and teach them the right way and how to duplicate your system and the way that we do things, it creates that override income without you having to have that huge financial investment in the product itself. So it definitely does apply, but it's a lot easier as far as a burden on somebody, because you can be anybody without having to have millions of dollars to invest in something to create that income. All you need to do is put in the effort and follow the system. And that's the beauty of the insurance industry in general.
Yeah, with the furniture store, we had to put in a huge amount of money to get started. And then to stay in business, you had to take a tremendous amount of your earnings. Like you spent, say, $500,000 on inventory, and then you sold it all. You can't just keep that money. You need to take that money and reinvest it into more furniture. And now you need different furniture, because the first people saw that furniture and they're going to want something different if you want it to be a repeat. So you had to keep spending the money that you were making. You had to keep putting it into the business in order to make more money to put it back into the business. And it just never stopped. Like, you constantly had to keep investing. Otherwise, you would just die. I mean, if you didn't invest in the business. And I think that's similar. Maybe, we're not investing financially as much. Like, it doesn't cost me, say, $50,000 for this line of agents, like like the bedroom line would cost me a month. So, but the override or the potential income is much higher from one agent that isn't costing me $50,000. If I have $50,000 worth of inventory, if we made 20% on that compared to it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to think how much money.
But let me ask you this. It's hard to sell a couch if I don't have a couch in inventory, right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Hard to sell 10 couches if I don't have 10 in inventory.
That's right.
That's the concept. I was selling a ditch witch. I'll think of the name of it, but I was selling for this manufacturer, and he was like, Albright, if you get these people to buy these and put them in their inventory, they'll sell them. I was like, can't they just order it from you? He said, nah, they won't sell them.
I'll tell you one thing we did learn, though, with the furniture industry was, as we started getting more successful and more income, is we created ways to make more money by designing our own stuff, having it manufactured exclusively for us, having our name branded. Like our furniture store, our company logo would be on our boxes of the furniture. So when people picked it up, like, our logo was on it. So when they threw the box out, it said the $99 furniture store on it. So people their neighbors would see it, and branding and advertising. And we would also figure out ways to get our expenses down, because we were doing such high volume. So we were having things custom made for us. We were ordering much higher quantities and getting better rates on the furniture itself. So to be able to, we were applying some of that knowledge into the insurance industry, by, duplicating the system. Like, we'll show you what to do, and now we want you to teach other people and show them what to do. So that's like the concept that is kind of like equal.
Yeah. And looking at licensed agents, it was a game changer for us, because now we didn't have to invest that startup cost. Like, the startup cost of the agent was already done. Like, they already got into class, got out of class, passed the test. Like, now we just needed to get them into the system.
Right.
So that was, I think, a huge game changer for us. As, like, if you equate it to the furniture, like, we got the doors open, everything's running, and now we're just bringing new, like James said, inventory in at a lower cost to sell for the same profit. And I think that's, for us anyway, that's been a huge change.
That's huge. Let me kind of hit a couple things. The exclusivity and name brand. Okay, so this coming Thursday, not tomorrow, but the following Thursday will be the date on that. Let's get a date on that. Thursday the 30th. It's been soft rolled out. Joe Dukes is completely aware of this. But I am going to talk to you about 2 new exclusive deals, we only have. Okay. Now, we'll let Jake comment to the exclusivity of seminars. Okay. But we're going to roll out 2 new lead creation programs, and we're testing some lead recruiting programs. But these 2 new, Joe, you're already on it. You're happy with Bang Bang, and we're calling it the what do we call it? The Big Bang Project. And we also have one called an IVR project. And I'm going to have the owners of those systems that are exclusive to us. They've agreed to do exclusive to us, their IVR program. Y'all on IVR, right, James?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, we started about 2 weeks ago.
And some people are going to get on it and not do that good. But when we get 100 people on it, we're going to take the best, and then we're going to train on it. Now, the Big Bang project that Joe's on it. Are you on it, Joe, or some of your people? You're on it. Okay. So, and Jake on it too?
Yeah, we got multiple.
Yeah, we're on it. I got a bunch of agents on it too.
Okay. Well, when we get 100 people on it, they're going to have the best. It's like the seminars. Like you said, you had 75 people attend your first seminar, Jake?
No, we had 120 or 30 attend. We've got
120.
We had over 75 green sheets turned in. So,
all right. So some people are having way more success with the seminar system than others. So when a person jumps in our seminar system and fails, it's exclusive. Nobody else is doing it. We got to learn how to do it, and we got to train on it. And, undoubtedly you paid attention to the training. You're a system follower. I mean, Bill Krause, Brandon Bulis, you talk about 2 system followers, these military regimented people. But I want to say this to you, James and Pam. I just hired one of the sharpest dudes. Took him all of 5 days to get his license to do seminars. So, what I would caution you is a sharp person like Joe Dukes, me, Leventovich, no time to get a license. So if you're going through 100 licensed agents to find, if you hire 80 because you don't have to go through the process, oh Lord, if you take too much time with the 60 or 70 or 90, the 99% of them that are not good, I would rather have one person not licensed that takes all of 5 days to get licensed than to go through the 90 people who talk a lot. You with me? In other words, the opportunity. Does that make sense? So, I agree, licensed people. I'll take it another step further.
Well, we do both of them.
I'll give you another step forward. Here's what I'm going for. I want securities license. Why? Because they're securities licensed. Why? They're securities licensed. They had to pass that test. It's one thing to pass the insurance test, another thing to pass the securities license. So I'll let you know how that goes. As soon as if I get my recruiting system, I'm gonna give it a shot, because I got another system. I spent $30,000 on recruiting, and I'm ending at the end of this month because it's a no-go. It's not, $30,000 did not net me the numbers. ZipRecruiter's better. Appointment setup is better than the guy who promised everything with the 10 grand. So we're rolling out another program. I'm gonna drop 10 grand in a heartbeat. If I get any kind of success, I'm going to say, hey guys, I got a securities broker recruiting strategy. Okay. And if it works there, we may expand it to licensed agents. What would be nice if we could figure the licensed agent that actually made money last year, because I have found that people didn't make money with Silver Springs and Triple Rings and PPCF. If they didn't make money with them, they usually don't make no money with me, because I'm real hard on them in the beginning. You think it's you, or you think it's the program? You think it's the leads, or you think it's you? That company don't let me use leads. That's a valid statement. Did you sell any to any of your friends and family? My upline sold to 12 friends and family. Ooh, that's a valid problem. But I'm with a company, gave me leads. Leads sucked. I'm going like, next. So not wasting time. And also, let's go back to the original thing. Why do I hire an agent, Jake? Why do I hire an agent?
Why do you hire an agent? So you can get them to hire another agent.
Yeah.
You can't have them hire an agent if you don't have one to begin with.
Getting this guy started. What gets him more excited than having one guy underneath him killing
Having
him?
another one killing it underneath him.
Yeah. Having two underneath him gets him killing it. The biggest leverage you have on getting a person successful, Joe, is to get that person to have a person successful. Failure to get that person to have a successful, what's going to happen? Triplets, lottery ticket, married a rich woman, had a heart attack, died, taken, witness protection program. You get them by successful, they witness a murder, testify. The company says, you're going into witness protection program. I say, oh, no, not without my overrides. I am not going into witness. They're going to come kill me because I'm getting overrides. It's just hard to make people quit overrides, Bo. They get all up in arms. Quit selling. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So having that, but it's really, really a lot in here, Jake. You're not always going to get depth, but I know I'm shooting for depth. It's like you're playing basketball. You're not always going to get the ball you're not always going to get the ball in the basket, but most of the people on the court know that's the goal. A lot of people don't know what the goal is.
Andy, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, sir.
So you were talking about the agent that has had a lot of opportunities, has had leads and is blaming either, working with another company, blaming the system, blaming their lack of coaching, blaming terrible leads, what have you. Are you still hiring them with the thought process of trying to find depth? I mean, is that...
The military people told me one time, I said, what if you don't know if they're, bad guy, good guy, and all that stuff, not they're a part of our own team. They've got a different uniform on. Maybe they're on the other team, but they're bad people. And they said, well, what we do is we just kill them all. And we don't take no chances. And if God wants to put them in heaven, we're like, well, so I hire them all.
Roger that.
Okay, now. Some people are going to put 3 bullets in, 10 bullets in, right? So the amount of time you take, you hire a guy, you may or may not take as much time with them.
Okay.
But let's be clear. Let's be clear. We've had people been here one day, hired great people.
Right.
Like just one day. One guy, he hired people, quit, good people, came back, hired more people, and quit again. I got 2 different legs going. Now I'd hire him a third time. But I'm like a linebacker watching to go, to get in depth and jump on them and care about them. Joe, talk to me a little bit about your new width you're putting in, where you're finding them, what cities they're in.
Sure. Well, we got, we're using ZipRecruiter. We're using, pulling licensed agents from different areas as well. Looking through the State Department of Insurance lists. And so right now we have new agents in Atlanta, in Houston, in Dallas, and here in Salt Lake. And it's and I love what you were talking about, like finding the right people. The right people are going to move quick. Like have a new guy in depth here in Salt Lake. And it was a lady that we hired about a year ago, and she kind of came out, Jen Talbot kind of came out on fire, and then, has little babies and a bunch of stuff going on. And she's still been involved, but about a week ago came to me and says, hey, I think I have a really sharp guy I know from church. And he literally got in class and got through the class in 2 days. Bam, had him and his wife at the hotspot on Monday. And he's moving fast. So it's like, so we're trying to find, and so thank you for clarifying all this, because trying to find the right people as opposed to, finding all these people who are just trying to drag along and hire someone and then sit on them. All I can imagine is sitting on someone like an egg and trying to hatch them to make them the right person. There is no making them the right person. Giving them the space. And maybe, I'd love if you could help me understand a little bit more about, giving people the space to grow and not, throwing them out, but giving them the space to grow so that way we can get more depth underneath them and, kind of like caring enough, I guess is one way to put it. How do you do that?
House is a great, H-O-W is a great word when it comes to that. So let's say when I first meet you, Joe, clarification is a risk of embarrassment, but I'll risk embarrassment to get you close to me and to relate to you. So, for example, I go, so, do you have a partner? Are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend? I put out a buffet for them to pick from. And oftentimes get laughing. You think I might have a girlfriend? I go, no. Yeah. So I said girlfriend, boyfriend, partner. No, I like girls. I got a girlfriend. Okay, cool. That's cool. I was just curious if do you have a dog? Cat? Talk to me. How's your health? How's your spouse's health? How's your kids' health? I know people, they hire a guy and they don't know that the kid's got serious mental, he's got a down or he's got stroke or can't walk or crippled or, and I'm like, how do you not know that? How's that possible? And then I guess people ask me, why would you care? Well, because I care. What are you talking about? Why would I care? If I'm going in business with you, now if I'm going to give you my time, I'm interested. If we're going to be friends, and then people say, this business, it ain't personal. I go, my life's personal. My business is personal. My personal is business. So, I'm talking to somebody in your downline, Joe, and they go, yeah, I had a stroke 3 months ago and had a relapse. And I look at you and I go, and I got it on mute and I say, hey, did you send flowers? And you go, I didn't know about it. And I go, you didn't notice a slur in their speech? You didn't notice they didn't return text? Well, yeah, when they didn't return my text, I said, they don't care anymore. I go, they had a stroke, Bo. What an opportunity to make a connection. I'm an opportunity. I was thinking about what I was going to talk about. And I was like, unfortunately, I'm a magician and I'm sharing what goes on behind the curtain or inside the box. So I don't want everybody to know my magic, but I want y'all to become magicians. It's kind of like I was sitting down with Jake and Beret one time, and I was like, hey, come here. They're in depth, and I'm talking to them because I care. And they're sitting up in this, overlooking this fabulous facility. And I said, how's your finance? They get good. You got any money in the bank? A little bit. I'm thinking they're real young, $1,000 in the bank. That'd be cool. And they was like, we have 50,000. This is all years ago this was. They got 50,000 in the bank. And I was like, finances is not bad for them. So immediately I'm thinking, what am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with that 50 grand? Because the only reason I got him to get 50 grand in the bank was to grow that volume in the hierarchy so that he would own a business. So immediately I'm thinking, there's some budget right there. You remember that conversation, Jake?
Like yesterday.
And you've invested, and now you've got a much different financial picture. Because when you look, if I took time to pull up y'all's income, I'd go, this is what you're making from you selling. This is what your business is driving. A lot of people see the whole thing as their business driving. I see the overrides as a business, and I see the personal as your job. So this is what you make on your job. Great job. Happy for you. Thrilled that you got a great job. Here's your business. And so you've seen that percentage. What's your percentages, roughly business versus personal income, Jake?
As we finished out last year, it was like 50-50. This year, we're the override side, the passive income is growing over 50. So 50% of what we have.
Totally different. And before it was 100% your personal sales, right?
Yeah. When we were talking to you, it invited in like 99 and 1. Yeah.
Oh, I got something for you. Joe, you hire a person and he goes through the process, gets licensed, gets his first check, first override check, first all expense paid trip. When is the person most absolutely excited about this business? What do you think?
I think right at the beginning.
I know.
When it's ignorance on fire.
They're never getting more excited than then.
Right.
So when they get their first override check, when they get their first 10,000, when they first $1 million, I've not seen it change. It's day one, baby.
Okay.
Day one is your biggest window of opportunity to get them to do what you want them to do. And missing that opportunity and trying to get that toothpaste back in it, they already started making money, getting that toothpaste back in after it's come out or after the window of excitement has left. And so who's your best friend? Who's your mama? And don't get me wrong, I'm calling in your depth, Jake. Instead of using Joe, I say, Jake, I'm calling your depth. And I go, God knows, you've been working here 26 years. That is great. That's awesome. Because a lot of people don't live long. So I'm doing, either they started when they were 18 or they started when they was 22 plus 26, right? So then I'm doing the math and I go, just like you have a brother, partner, cousin, cats, dogs, husband, spouse, wife, girlfriend. They say, you got kids? Do you see how it looked like I just thought of that? He just thought of that. 37, 32, 26. Huh. For what they do. One's a model, beautiful. All right. California. Huh. Where's the other one? FedEx. Huh. What am I thinking? As soon as kids are models, they want to be in. Michelle Colin was FedEx. What about the 26 years old? She's trying to find herself. Huh. And I'll pause. The gets them. Here's what I get. I've talked to her about the business. She's really interested. And the 36-year-old got in, but the people that we were in before, he wouldn't quit trying to date her, so she kind of got turned off to the business because he was more interested in dating her than he was. I was like, She decides she's going to be a movie star and try to go that because this business, because him. And I said, yeah, Steve was like that. I know that guy. I was telling somebody else about it, and they go, I know you're talking about. I ain't going to call his last name, but I'll tell you more later. And it's like interesting, so by the way, I'm talking to this person around Jake, and I'm looking at Jake going, you're making $1,000 a month off this person, and she got 3 kids. And so then I'm mute and I go, Jake, you been to visit her? Where you get out of your house, couch, computer, your comfortable office, and went to see them. No. You think they'd like to have dinner with you? Yeah. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get depth. So I got Jake trying to get depth. So that was that was some of my hows, Joe. Immediately mute. Tell your secretary to send that person flowers, the one that had the stroke. Tell them you're sorry for not knowing. Say healthy recover. $50, $20, $100. I don't know. It's just that concept. This other one I'm talking, and I said, hey, make sure you get your secretary to box up a hat and a book and a sweatshirt for this one. Y'all know listen, hey, let me tell y'all this. I'm listening to it. So it might be easier to pull up on my audio, but the psychology of influence. What's my inventory? Inventory of audios. Influence. The cover letter
He modified the name of the survey.
The psychology of persuasion. The psychology of persuasion, Joe.
Okay.
You give flowers. Hey, you know, how many people has had baby gifts with their name embroidered on it, the alliance embroidered on it, they have a baby. I had a guy, he swears, now it's 18 months ago, 18 months ago, we talked, and then he called me back 6 months ago, and he's like, hey, it's the insurance thing you're doing. I was like, why aren't you involved with us? And they go, we tried to a year ago, and we just kind of faded apart, and let's try it again. I said, let's try it again. He has one of the cutest, prettiest babies I've ever seen in my life. And he just sent me a picture of it. But it's just constant contact over the 6 months. And he's, I ain't sure if he signed up for securities license. He's ready to do a seminar now. And, watch this. For Pam, if my guy buys 100 couches and he spends money on 100 couches, and it's one of my franchised furniture places, is he more likely to sell a couch if he buys 100 couches?
Yes.
So if my guy buys a seminar, is he more likely to sell some insurance?
Yes.
So, selling leads, selling seminars, selling IVR without absolute remembrance and rememberability and enthusiasm and conviction, more likely to get that override. True that. You got a house, advertise it for rent. Somebody might rent it. What does that mean? You got an agent, advertise leads. He might buy some. What if he buys some leads? More likely to sell. How about this? Advertise ZipRecruiter. See what I'm saying? It's like if he buys ZipRecruiter, he's more likely to stumble across somebody. So it's getting that head set. Like if I'm getting ready to play basketball on defense, we got to keep them scoring. On offense, we got to get the ball in the net. If it's football, like what's the game we're playing? Our game is building a business. So if our game is building a business, we want 100 people in this organization selling. We want 100 people in this organization selling. We want 100 people in this. We want multiple businesses with multiple people. And the weirdest concept to me is the deeper you go, the more they believe you and trust you. The more they believe you and trust you, the more they'll do what you say, and the more successful they'll get. Why come the people you hire don't believe you? I don't know. I didn't write this influence book. I just read it and repeat it. I'm not a fruit inspector. You know what I'm saying? I just judge it. I just read it and tell you what he said. Here's what he said. And then I've seen it for 34 years. That people in doubt just believe it quicker. So you got to remember, and go there. Jake.
Yes, sir.
Emphasis on certain points, clarification on points, or questions on points?
Yeah, no, I mean, this comment, I got to make sure I say it because I've been waiting to. No, I just crunched the numbers on one of her legs, and I think my blood pressure went up because I was like, holy shiitake, like I just calculated it and I had to do it 5 or 8 times to make sure I did it right. And I was like, I got a $1.3 million house. Let's go. And that's just one of them. I just found a $500,000 house like 3 weeks ago, and another one over here, and another one over here. And I'm like, yeah. And it's fun.
You get better at building you get better at building and picking out profitable houses.
Oh yeah, no, we're getting it. When at breakthrough in the room that we were in, that stuck with me because, we give everyone a chance. I'm not judging, but to be clear, Vray and I have a very specific mold of
what you're looking for.
I'm looking. Oh, I cleared up my desk because we got these appointments. Anyway, it's the Alliance, Aiden. That's my mold. Yeah. And we're getting really good at finding them and identifying them, and I'm slowing down. But I mean, when you see that you got that, I'm like, oh, it's just low, and it's fun too. I mean, if you buy a house, it sucks if they put concrete in the toilet, or I don't know, they smash the mirrors and rip the ceiling fan. If they rip the ceiling fans out of the roof, like, like that's rough. But like, we're having fun. Like, we hired this guy, Caden, really cool dude, worked in the jails already. He was 20 years old. Well, even he was 19, 18, already making 60, 70 grand a year doing that. And I know if he can work in a jail, he's crazy enough to go to final expense client's house, you know? He hires his buddy Bruno and Herman. Bruno's taken off hiring a bunch of people, but they've been in the field maybe 2-3 weeks. We set up a contest for them. They're best friends from high school, right? They're all good buddies. You should, like, the way they interact with each other, great. And I set up a contest for them. I said, hey, if you guys can write 20 apps between the three of you in the next 10 days, I'll take you to, well, originally it was Top Golf, but then they were like, you think Jake would take us to an NBA game? And I was like, well, let's up the ante. So we upped the ante. In 8 days, the three of them wrote 20 apps. So we took them up. We saw Game 7. So they'd never been to an NBA game, but they got to see Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals. They were naming all the players, having a blast. They got to do it together. They all three got to experience their first game together. And it was just, I mean, if that's not persuasion, I don't know what is. But we had a blast. It was fun. And they're making money, you know, but we had to explain to them, hey, don't just do it. Don't just do it for the sticker. You know, make sure you and I have this conversation. Do it for yourselves. Like, don't let this be the last game that you go to, you know. Marina, she's actually in our office right now. Her and her boyfriend Chris, engineers. They just graduated from a big school, good solid school here in New Mexico Tech. And yesterday, 3 apps, 7,700 in premium. Crazy. She's been in the field like 3-4 weeks, not even. Bang leads. Big bang, right? We've got another team coming on, young, sharp guy, Tyler, I found him, already licensed, running a restaurant, right? He built up his restaurant 2019, COVID hits. He's one of the only restaurants open in town. He doesn't quit. He keeps up with it, builds it out, right? Super successful now, making just under $200,000 a year in the restaurant biz, right? Hires his buddy, hires his girlfriend, and his buddy goes out in the field, Demir. First appointment he goes into, writes a final expense at over $100 a month. It's just, when you find, like, I'm telling you, I go back to Breakthrough, when you get good at knowing what you're looking for, and you get good at helping people, like, run insurance and help them understand the building part, it gets a lot of fun. It gets a lot. We got a bunch of good stuff. Oh, a guy I hired almost 2 years ago now, out of the blue, says, hey, Jake, can you call this guy? Mr. Herbert Coates up in Indiana. I traveled to go see him when he first got started. He gets me in contact with this guy. He should be on the call, Arturo Lassiter and his wife, Dawn. They were in World Ventures. I texted Marcusetta. Marcusetta was on the phone with their upline from the company 15 minutes prior, right? Their kids grew up. Guess what? Their kids are 21. One of them's track, doing Olympic trials. The other one's 20. I think we got 23 and 26. They've been to the View from the Edge. They grew up going to the View from the Edge, right? And he's getting them into the business. It's just like, they're all fired up about these IULs. And it's just, I don't know. I guess I'm lucky. I don't know.
There's so many people jealous out there. He's finding them. I'm not. Where you find them? Is it money? Is it effort? Is it energy? Is it elbow grease? Is it ZipRecruiter? Is it Zaxby's restaurant? You find them at Chipotle. I got one guy. He's like, Chipotle's where you get them. That's where you recruit them.
Yeah, they. Again, most of the initial, like, people direct are licensed agents from interviews from Micah Noel's office, but everyone else, I mean, it's all depth. It's all warm market depth. Like the guy I just mentioned, he knew Mr. Coates for, like, I don't know, 13 or 15 years because Herbert Coates is a pastor and the guy's dad is a pastor. They knew each other through that. You know, those young kids that were coming on.
So the guy you hired wasn't doing much, but you went to see him, and then he's referred you somebody that you're excited about. So this one you're excited about. This one's just a nice guy that you're not mean to. Just he's out there and refers somebody.
100%. Yep.
And being ready, willing, and able to contact them.
Yeah.
You did the initial traveling, the meeting, built the initial relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And then those young kids, I mean, it's just like, Caden started it. He started the movement. And I mean, his buddies, they're good friends. Like, again, I spent 48 hours with them real close, and like they're best friends, and they're all killing it together. They're all writing policies. So, that's nuts.
Joe, you getting some great, I already hit you with that. I'll come back to James and Pam, and y'all just found at least one I know that's kicking, just ripping, snorting on the program, on the Big Bang Project. And hold on, before I do this, let me get out of hot water. Hopefully. Cabo 2025. There are new winners this week. Joe, can you pull that up can you do that without causing a mess? New Cabo, wait a minute, you can't do that because if they're not on your team, they won't show up for you.
Andy, I texted it to you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Not on the same text. Did you do it copy and Preston or something?
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, there you go. You just tell it. Who's the new winners?
Congratulations, Stephen and Holly Davies. Trip for 2 to Cabo.
Woo! A Nexus contest. So speaking of proprietary, y'all understand that very limited people in the world have this. All of Nationwide agents have this, but they don't compete. They're not talking to the people we're talking to. They're not doing estate planning. So we have the Nationwide product. Okay. We've got actually more products than that. We've got 2 other products exclusive to us through a Nexus. The top 10 producers, we're going to have dinner Thursday night at Prago's. The top 10 producers with a Nexus annuities, we will be having dinner at Prago's on Thursday night at our next family reunion, which right here you can get connected to our family reunion tickets. What else did she have? Family reunion tickets. Any event, they always go up closer to the event. The price goes up June 1. So we have a couple more days. Most people wait till the last day to start promoting, and they're like, it's Friday night. Can't we do it a different night? No, Friday night is going up. So Saturday, June 1, prices go up. Y'all mentioned Houston and Dallas. So I've got an inner circle leadership group that's going to show up in Dallas on the 5th, which is a Thursday night. Yeah, Wednesday night. So on a Wednesday night, we're going to do an opportunity meeting in Houston at the Hyatt Regency. It's on the hotspot thing, and we'll get it. You can look it up on the hotspot on the ARC. Thursday the 6th, we're going to do a boot camp. Yes, in Houston at the Hyatt Regency. So what's so significant about this is Mike and Noel going to be there. Stephen Davies is going to be there, Alex and Jenny Abian. So the credibility is going to be massive on Wednesday night, the 5th in Houston, and then Thursday for training. You talk about quality training in that boot camp. And then Friday morning, a lot of us are flying over to Dallas on the 6th, and then Friday morning, another boot camp in Dallas. So anybody and everybody, and a lot of the leadership, not all of them is coming over, but most of them are coming over to Dallas. And then we actually got some new leaders coming in to Dallas just for that boot camp. So that's a big deal coming up to take advantage of. And the other thing, I mean, just in general, I would live on that hot spots on the meetings, because every time you hire somebody, I like, if I'm talking to somebody, Pam, I'll just say, what's your zip code? I ain't worried about what city, what zip code. I go to my maps. I put in their zip code, and I see the cities that are around them. Oh, James Coleman lives you. Oh, James and Pam are near you. Oh, Debbie Ben's near you. Like, I can relate. And I look at hot spots that are coming up. I go ahead and go to hot spots and see what's coming up, because what I'm trying to do is entangle people into the system to get them more successful. The more tentacles the more outreach that I can get in a new person, if I can relate to them or get them to relate to somebody else in that first day. Because I hear people say all the time, well, I've only known them for 2 weeks. You talk to them about family reunion? I only known them for 2 weeks. The first day was your best shot at get them locked in, because they'll agree to anything the first day. Now, I ain't saying they'll keep their promise and back it, but at least you got them to agree versus 2 weeks out. Now we got to go think about it and check with the wife, and everything matters. 6 weeks, oh, Lord. You ain't talked to them about 6 weeks. They've already got birthday plans. Big Bang Theory guy is texting me all kinds of, this person signed up, another one got into business. So that program is available now. It's just a soft rollout. Thursday, it's going to be a heavy rollout. We're going to preach it and teach it. Oh, by the way, exclusivity, reciprocity is big. Like when you're giving gifts, baby clothes, flowers, going to their house, Jake. That was your reciprocity. You went to see the guy. He gave you a recruit. He owes you. I'm telling you, listen to that influence book, mess you up. Reciprocity works. Going out there works. Exclusivity. So the seminar system, y'all book a seminar. Jake, you know this. If you go more than 6 weeks and there's a person on the waiting list, they get that spot. And now until they stop, you don't get to come back. You go like, well, can't they do it and then me do it? Not if they want to do it every 6 weeks. You're out. Same thing with the IVR leads. Same thing with the Big Bang. He told me Salt Lake's wrapped up, Andy. He said, we will sell it to the rest of the country, but Salt Lake is wrapped up. Nobody else can get it. They can get the IVR leads. So if I were you, I would get exclusivity and own it. Pam, back to what you said. Exclusivity, own it. Own the IVR, own the Big Bang, own the direct mail, own the seminar in that county. Well, then what if I recruit people in that county and they can't do it? I go, I don't know. Tell them to move. It's a big country. 300 big cities around the country. Get a couple of them in your hierarchy. I can't. I mean, Burlington's been wiped out for a long time, but I continue to grow. I don't get upset when I hire a person in Burlington no more than I do Bangkok, Maine. The winner's going to win. Talk to me, Pam and James, about conventions. And I want to say this about Pam and James. So they're not that 27-year-old Alex Aiden, but they were. And it's going to be easier for them to notice or recognize one because they were one. Self-employed, couple, on and on. A lot of good things about them. But talk to me about family reunion coming up, or just the team, what it's meant to you guys in the beginning, education-wise, fun-wise, relationship-wise.
Well, I think that's probably the reason we're still in the business, is the relationships that we built. I mean, really, because just like everybody else that joins, or most people anyway, in the beginning, there's a struggle. And so without the support, and the mentorship and the guidance and the relationships, it's really difficult for people to get through that struggle. And so that's what pretty much kept us in the business, because we met so many awesome people, and the people that we met and the relationships that we built, with fellow agents, upline, and also the insurance carriers. Like those relationships that we built there, those people all kind of came together and helped. They plugged us in where we needed to plug in, but they never really told us what to do, which was awesome, because most people don't really enjoy that, and we fall right into that category of most people. So when people start telling us what to do, it usually has the opposite effect on us. But it seems that everybody kind of knows that in the alliance, and so instead of telling people what to do, we just make suggestions. And so a lot of the people that were helping us grow and guide us and change our failure to success were just kind of like pointing us in the right direction. And we were willing to take the advice that they were giving us because of the relationships that we were building. And we actually, like, for the first few months, we didn't want to go to a conference. And then what happened was, a couple of different people said, it'll change your life. And so we finally, we signed up. They were called Instant Thunder. You remember Instant Thunders? Those are awesome. So anyway, that was our first big event, was called Instant Thunder. And that was like our 4th month or so into the business.
But I think it was the hotspot. Noelle came to do the hotspot in Phoenix, and we went. James had been going every week, and then he brought me, and I think that made a big difference. Like when he got me to buy in as well. Because I was just like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I have this job I have to work while you're like doing this insurance thing, like whatever. And then he's like, no, come, you'll see. And I was like, all right, this, And he brought me, and I met Joseph, and I met Noelle, and she made a huge impact on me. And I think from that point, I think that was a big turning point for us. Was that one training, and then James.
And Noelle said Mediterranean cruise. And Pam heard Mediterranean cruise, and she was like, what? Wait, what?
That was in June. It was the beginning of June. And Noelle said, oh, and you can earn this all expense paid, cruise in the Mediterranean. I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, seriously, why haven't we gotten this? And so that was definitely my driving force, because I was like, look, if I'm going to have to work a crappy job, I want to go to the Mediterranean. And then he reached out to Joseph, and it wasn't just Joseph, it was Paul, and it was Mike and Noelle, and Nick Neitzel, who was on a totally different team, who had no other. He just wanted to help. And there were so many other people who just wanted to help us. They were like, hey, these guys want to figure it out. Let's help them. And you don't get that anywhere else. Where like all of a sudden you say, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to take it serious. We have a goal. This is what we want to accomplish. How do we do it? And that's when everyone just started pouring into us like, okay, and I love the way you say things, Andy, where you say, well, I don't know what you would do, but if it was me, this is what I would do. I don't know what you're going to do, but I was like, well, Andy's going to do it. And if Joseph's going to do it, and we spent the first year, and all we would say was, what would Andy do? What would Joseph do? And then our daughter was like, I don't know, what would Joseph do? And she was like, I would say, what decisions are you making, Gabrielle? We'd be listening to books with her, and she would say, well, what would Andy do? And I'm like, but it was huge for us.
Yes,
that first event, it going to Burlington, and
the difference between failure and success.
It really did.
And we tell that to our the people that we're bringing on board. You can't afford not to be there. It's really your business will most likely not be successful as an agent or as a business owner if you're not at all the events.
And it's not when you get into the alliance; it's when the alliance gets into you. And I believe that 100%. And Chris, I think you were mentioning him earlier. Chris Paycheck,
that's right. His last name is Paycheck.
I know, it's awesome. Boy, is he getting some now.
So we knew for a fact that he was going to be huge.
At one point, he was just like dabbling, and then it just hit him. He just looked at us and looked at everyone else on the team, and he's like, are these paychecks real that people are getting? And we were like, yeah, they're not like forging on them, of course, it's what we're getting.
We challenged him to take a week and go full time, because he was part time for about a year, and we challenged him to take a week and go full time and see what happens. Take a week, follow the system, put in the activity, and see what happens. He wrote over $16,000 in premium in the week. In the week he took off to try it, so to speak. And so I think the next day he went in and gave his notice.
Yeah. And the thing is with Chris is, well, how do I get clients here? Bang, bang. Okay. He figured it out. Oh, how do I get more leads? well, there's this new program,
IVR.
IVR. And he signed up for it, so now he's just in. And his first appointment, the first lead that he got that was fully filled out, he called him that minutes after he got it. He went to the house. What did he write? He wrote some crazy like
$7,000 in premium on his first mortgage protection.
And you know what his words were? Not, this is going to pay the rent forever. He's like, this is going to pay for my leads for the next 2 months. That's what he said.
That's
and
right.
we were so proud. We were like, oh my God. Like, crazy. Like he got it. And that's what's so exciting is like when they get it. It's like when your kid takes their first step and you're like, oh my God, they did it.
It's awesome.
Like he got it. And it's such a wonderful feeling that he believed in us. He believed in the system. And only because of, everyone above us, right? And it's incredible. So yeah, we're excited for him.
And the team members that help not just us, but the people on our team also. So, like Brandy Glover, like she would not be where she's at today if it wasn't for the rest of y'all helping pour into her. Like she's from the first day, she's been selling, recruiting, and building from when we first hired her, maybe 3 years ago. So, and she's tenacious. Like she rides the roller coaster like everybody else, but she always comes back to the focus and does what she's supposed to do. So we're super proud of her.
And she's taken agents out with her from other teams and helping the whole system. It's incredible. Where else does that happen?
It really is.
Like in the beginning, I was like waiting for someone to stab us in the back. Like they're just setting us up so that we look like idiots. But no, that doesn't happen here.
That's a different organization you're thinking
That's
about.
right. So we can't.
We can't thank you all enough.
Really, we're so grateful to have this opportunity and to be able to share it with other people and to have a system already laid out. Like seriously, we had to struggle and figure out our own system with the furniture store, but we don't. Like you wrote it in a book. Like we just have to read the book. What to do? Go to page 72. Oh, what should we do here? Go to page 92. You want to make $1 million? Read the green book.
Right.
Like read it, and that's where you'll be. So we're halfway through the green book. So as soon as we finish it, we'll be ready.
So I'm listening. I'm going to family reunion. That's August 1, 2, 3, 4.
And we're excited to bring people.
The convention kicks off the 2nd, but on the 1st, which is a Thursday, it starts at noon. It's the higher level estate planning, required minimum distribution, inherited 401ks, stretch IRAs, irrevocable trusts, revocable trusts, tax strategies, everything. That's Thursday starting at noon, from noon to 6, hammer down. And then Friday morning, starting at 9 a.m. until about noon, it's another hammer down, higher level insurance. So if you're just straight up final expense mortgage protection, this will not be of interest to you unless you're starting to make some money and you're thinking about your own estate planning, your own 401k strategy, your own retirement plans, your own IUL strategy. But how about this? So if I'm hearing you, I'm coming to family reunion. Like I'm going, it's a no-brainer, right? Looking back, and not realizing what those vendor tables were and the carriers people, but now realizing your asset in those reps. I just recently heard a guy he was telling his his agent asked him a question, he didn't know the answer, and he's like, hold on, let me think of who will know that, let me look it up. And I was like, here's the rep. And I like, show me their number. And I texted the person, the rep, copied the rep, and said, call the rep. Not because I don't want to do the work. I need my person to have a relationship with somebody, their call, in addition to me, in addition to their upline. Those reps it's an asset that the alliance provides, that these reps don't work for everybody in the world. You tell them when you're alliance and they're cooperative, you've been friends. So talk about what you'd have done as far as the reps and the value of these reps that are there, James and Pam.
Indispensable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've gotten so much help from all of them. I mean, the list of names is too long to go through.
Cell phone numbers.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
cell phone, emails. I mean,
Take selfies with them so that they remember who we are when we call them till they get to know us. And yeah, just
go out of our way to spend time with them, like, and show them,
And
you know,
appreciate them.
that they're appreciated. And now we're at a point with pretty much all of them where, you know, when we call them, they're either answering the phone right then and there, or they're calling us back within an hour or so. They answer our emails. They're helping our agents. So, we have situations where our downline agents need help, and we're doing like a conference call with the reps and having them explain what's going on, and then the rep helps them because of the relationship that we built, and then it fosters our downline agents to build their own relationship with the reps because they see the value in it. So it's been like that from the first day, you know, something that we were taught directly from Joe and Mike and Noel, like build relationship with the insurance companies, because you got to get to know them before you need to know them. And
well, it used to be we wanted our app to, our paper app to be on the top of the stack, right? That's what we said. That was what we wanted, and it worked. And now that they're e-apps, it's more like if it's on the line of approved or not approved, or it got declined, but maybe it shouldn't, that's the relationship. If you have a good relationship with them, they can make that difference. They can help you figure out how to get somebody approved. Like, just bring a doctor's letter, just do this. Oh, you just needed to fill this out. Whereas if you didn't have that relationship, you'd be like, oh, well, they got declined.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I lost $800. Oh,
Yeah,
well, next. Oh, well, next.
But
and my agent quit. Oh, well, next agent. Like, what is this? Oh, well, no, fight.
No. That's right.
Fight for
And
every
we've
dollar and
gotten
nickel.
really great clients because other people have walked away and didn't call the reps to ask, how can we do this? What should we do? And they're there to tell us. That's their job. Their job is to help us.
Hey, they
But
got
they're
incentive.
gonna help
They got
us.
incentive. They got incentive too.
Right.
But they're going to help us because we took the time to see them at the tables. We took the time to say hello, to shake their hands, to meet them, to get their numbers, to build a relationship. Whereas maybe, Joe Schmo didn't take that time and then just calls them out of the blue. Whose phone call are they going to take? Whose text are they going to respond? Who are they going to go out of their way for? I mean, it's just like us. We're willing to help everyone. But if you don't say hello to us, or if you don't acknowledge us, why should we help you before we help somebody who's taken the time to say hello to us?
So
I mean, it's just kind of human nature. If you meet someone, you remember them and you're going to help them. You're going to go out of your way to help them. Whereas if you haven't met them, you'll help them, but you might not go out of your way to help them. So it's indispensable. The vendors have all made such huge differences in our business with helping our clients, keeping our clients, and helping our downline, crossline friends. And it's indispensable. And being able to meet them at the events is crucial, absolutely crucial. And every time we go to an event, we tell our agents, I want to see selfies with you, because I want proof that you went and you met them and you shook their hands and you took a picture with them and then you texted them the picture with your phone number so that they know who you are. I want proof.
right.
Because they're not just there so you can grab swag, like whatever. Like, do you need another chapstick from
Got me some
Transmit?
chapstick. Got me some chapstick for the carrier. Free. It's free.
It's free. Yeah, we try to teach them how to be able to afford their own chapstick so that they don't need free chapsticks from Transamerica.
While you're at the table, meet them, shake their hands, ask them a tip. Like, what's the best way to do something? Is it easier to whatever it is? Just ask questions. Just make them remember you. Trip over them and then spill something on their table. They're going to remember you, and then they're going to help you. It's crazy how it works, but it's there. You set up this system, Andy. You and Jane figured it all out, and we don't have to. Like it's cool. We don't have to figure it out. We just have to follow what everyone else is doing and get other people to do it. And it's just an incredible system. And being able to meet everyone is, it's just crazy. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to meet them?
I cannot wait to hang out with y'all in Alaska. That's going to be so much fun.
That's coming up.
I know.
I just found I had a direct flight from Tampa. I'm so excited.
We're going to have so much fun.
Jake, young couple, just married, little bitty babies, blah, blah, blah. Conventions for you. What's been the biggest aspect? Is it inspiration, education, networking, carriers? What's been a big deal if you're selling me on going?
I'll put it to you this way. I mean, since we started, you taught us dream building. The other day, go to the power sports store. I'm looking at jet skis. It's summertime. I'm looking at jet skis. I'm building up my dreams. And they go show you the two-seater, right? And it's got like 70 horsepower, 90 horsepower, two-seater, this and that. Don't frickin' show me, don't show me the three-seater with 110 horsepower. You can put the Bluetooth speakers on it. You can tow the kids and rip them around and fling them off. Because guess what? Now I want it, Don't show me the four-seater side by side, because screw the two-seater. I want the four-seater, right? So when people, it's like Vray was sending me links on Zillow, of different houses. And she's all, this one's got private access to the river and the bosque. And I'm like, damn, now that we know that, that's kind of where we're at, right? So I think about it like the hot spots, don't get me wrong, go to the hot spots, right? And go to the hot spots. But Vray and I are the type of people that if you show us more, that's what we're doing. That's what we're in for. Right. So when we went, I remember my first hotspot, I saw Noel, I was sold. Like I saw the trips, I saw this and that. I loved it. That's what got me in. Right. And then we go to our first convention and you put people on stage that are making $1 million a year. That's our three-seater jet ski. That's the one that's supercharged. That's the one that can rip the kids around. Right. It's like now you show us something bigger. So in saying all that, you get one right person to the event. And if they're like that, if you show them what's possible and they want that, it's going to change your entire business. So when we went to the convention and we really truly saw what was possible, because we're not in this to make 100,000. We're not in this to make 200,000, right? Like you all.
Joe, you're up next. This is my boss. I'm going to take this call.
So
Joe, you're up next. Let's wrap it up. Hey, boss.
So, y'all, you guys show us. You guys get the right person in front of conference, right? If it's just one right person, right, it's going to change. It's going to change your entire business, right? So that's the mystery. That's the fun part behind it, because you tell everyone, because you never know who's the one right person or who's the one right couple that's going to make all the difference.
That's also a priority thing I just showed you right there. One more person. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you made it. Dukes.
Massive.
Freedom, baby.
Baby, we are
Freedom
fired up about family reunion, man.
Write a check, fired up. Bring all your friends, family, cousins, mamas, secretaries, assistants. Bring it. Joe Dukes. Wrap us up, baby. Thank you, guys. Wrap us up, Joe.
Man, thank you, Andy. Thank you for having this call. Thanks for inviting us all on. So major events for me is like, it was one of the selling points when I met you and you were talking about leadership and you were talking about building people up. And that's what every one of these events does. Like, I mean, if you've ever gone to a concert, like I like concerts, you come to family reunion and it's going to be like, we got heroes on the stage. Like, we get people who have done stuff. Like the thing that I remember from the 6 weeks I spent in college is that the guy who was the business professor, he never owned a business. And I'm just like, I can't respect someone trying to teach me something that they've never done. But I know for a fact that when you come to family reunion, when you come to one of our major events, the people who are teaching are people that have done it. Like they're speaking from knowledge, they're speaking from their heart. And it is like, you know, I think of like a mosh pit, Jake, in front of the stage, because it's that kind of energy that we bring to these events, because I know that every time you come, you're gonna get something, you know, when you go to it. And then being able to have brand new people there, and you said it's going to change your business, but it's going to change their life. Like the people that I have been able to build relationships with from these events, James and Pam, have totally changed my life, my children's life, my dad. Like I get to have people like James and Pam in my life. I get to know their daughter. Gabrielle is badass, man. You know, I got to meet Jake and Beret and be able to hang out with them and get to know, you know, gosh, their daughters are so, I mean, just the sweetest kids. You know, Reina and Kata are the coolest. And I wouldn't be able to build these relationships if I didn't go to the events and if they didn't go to the events. So, like, guys, fight to go, whatever it takes to go there. It's going to change everything for you. And
so
not easy, but your kids.
So easy to walk down a railroad track, just one foot over the other. But if you can go down the track and you get Joe Dukes, James and Pam on one side, and we hold each other's hands, you lean out, I'll pull you back, I lean out, you pull me back, we lean in, we push, and we get straightened back up. We can walk for miles and miles and miles. We do it together, boys. Girls, this is the alliance. It's the hardest. So what's the hardest thing to do? Get people to understand the power of teamwork. Get people to understand the power of using the reps, the power of using your upline, power of using your downline. It's together. Oh, Brian Adams, I call him right back. We're better together, boys and girls. Thank y'all so much. Hope I helped you. Execute it. Listen to that influence. Use that influence. Get that organization. Do the math. Be remembered. Love y'all. Can't wait to see y'all real soon. So many things come up. Special product trainings. Pay attention to all the educational stuff that's coming out on the seminars about the new leads, exclusivity, and access. So much. All right. Love y'all guys. Thank you so much. Good day.